the spark ignited. From wasteland to wellspring, every drop you waste is a spark of your destiny lost. Imagine it, a single seed, heavy with the blueprint of empires, slipping through your fingers into the void. Not just any seed, no, this is the essence of creation itself, forged in the fire of your loins, carrying the thunder of gods and the whisper of ancestors. In the quiet chambers of your body, it waits, a coiled dragon breathing fire into your veins, ready to ignite worlds. But in this age of flickering screens and hollow hungers, we let it spill, casual, careless, like rainwater down a storm drain in a city that never sleeps. Picture the man in the desert. Call him Elias. He wakes each morning in a concrete jungle, the buzz of notifications his alarm clock, the glow of porn his midnight confessor. By day, he chases deadlines in a cubicle that feels like a cage, his mind a fractured mosaic of half-remembered fantasies and mounting to-do lists. Stress coils in his gut like a serpent, squeezing the life from his dreams. At night, the emptiness yawns wide, a black hole where passion once burned. He scrolls, he clicks, he releases, and with each fleeting peak, a piece of himself dissolves into the ether. Vitality ebbs, focus fractures, creativity withers like a flower under fluorescent lights. He is not alone. You know this man. Perhaps you are this man. In a world engineered for distraction, endless feeds, instant gratifications, the siren song of the swipe, we've all tasted that bitter afterglow, the crash, the fog, the soul-deep ache of something sacred squandered. But what if I told you this is no curse, no inevitable decay? What if the wasteland is not your fate, but a forge? What if that spilled seed is not lost forever, but merely misplaced, a call to reclaim, to transmute the base metal of your urges into the gold of unyielding strength? Welcome, wanderer, to the journey of retention. Not the grim suppression of a monk in hair shirt, denying the flesh its fire. No, this is alchemy. This is the ancient art of gathering the waters of life, holding them sacred and channeling their torrent into rivers of purpose. Semen retention, the deliberate choice to conserve your vital essence, transforming it from a fleeting spasm into a sustained blaze. It is the warrior's vow, the sage's secret, the lover's deepest devotion. And in these words, we begin the Odyssey, not as spectators, but as protagonists in our own epic. Breathe deep. Feel the spark stir within. The desert blooms tonight. Let us journey back, not to dusty tomes or esoteric retreats, but to the marrow of your being. For this is no modern fad, no fleeting biohack for the Silicon Valley elite. Semen retention echoes through the corridors of time, whispered in the bamboo groves of ancient China, etched in the sandalwood scrolls of India, invoked in the shadowed temples of forgotten empires. In Taoism, it is the cultivation of Jing, that primal ocean of life force, the root of all vitality, stored in the seed like lightning in a storm cloud. The Taoists, those masters of flow and balance, saw the body as a microcosm of the universe, yin and yang in eternal dance, energy rising and falling like the tides. To waste Jing was to dam the river of immortality, inviting frailty and fog. Instead, they taught retention as reversal, the upward spiral, drawing the essence from the root chakra through the spine's hidden river to nourish the brain's golden palace. He who knows how to preserve his Jing, wrote the Yellow Emperor in his timeless canon, holds the key to 1,000 springs of youth. Cross the Himalayas, and in Ayurveda, the wisdom deepens. Here, Semen is Ojos, the supreme nectar, the diamond-like substance that crowns the 7 dhatus, the body's foundational tissues. Ojas is no mere fluid. It is the glow of health, the shield against disease, the subtle fire that kindles charisma and calm. The sages of the Vedas likened it to the moon's cool radiance. Spill it, and your inner light dims. Conserve it, and you become a beacon, drawing abundance like moths to flame. In the Charaka Samhita, that encyclopedic hymn to healing, retention is extolled as the path to Balam, unshakable strength, and Smriti, crystal memory. Modern man scoffs, perhaps, chained to his espresso shots and energy drinks, but the ancients knew Ojas is the battery of the soul, charged by restraint, depleted by indulgence. And lo, in the tantric temples of old, where lovers merged not in conquest but in cosmic union, retention became Maithuna, the sacred act without dissipation. Tantra, that misunderstood thunderbolt of the East, reveals energy work as the great transmutation, arousal not as end, but as gateway. The Kundalini, that serpent power coiled at the base of the spine, awakens not through frenzy, but through devotion, holding the edge of ecstasy, redirecting the flood upward through the Sushumna Nadi, the central channel of divine current. Here, semen is Bindu, the drop of the moon, a microcosm of Shiva's creative seed. To retain is to court the goddess, inviting her fire to rise, piercing veils of illusion until the crown chakra blooms like a 1,000-petaled lotus. These are not relics of a bygone age, dusty idols gathering cobwebs. No, they pulse with relevance in our fractured now. Science, that relentless cartographer of the unseen, has begun to map these ancient truths with the precision of electron microscopes and hormone assays. Let us descend into the laboratory of the body, where biology meets the mystic, and witness the miracle unfolding. Consider the seed itself. Semen, that alchemical brew, is no idle expenditure. Each milliliter is a symphony of 200 million spermatozoa, each a vessel of DNA, enzymes, proteins, and minerals. Zinc, magnesium, fructose, prostaglandins, compounds forged in the testes forge over 74 days of gestation. But beyond the swimmers lies the serum, a elixir rich in neurotransmitters, mood regulators, even trace elements of cortisol and adrenaline. Ejaculation, that explosive release, is a floodgate opening, a torrent of these treasures cascading into the world, leaving the body in temporary deficit. Studies from the Journal of Andrology whisper of it. Post-orgasmic prolactin surges, a chemical break that dulls dopamine, the reward chemical, ushering in the refractory fog. Testosterone, that titan of drive and dominance, dips in the hours and days following, as confirmed by research in World Journal of Urology. Chronic release? A slow erosion, lowered immunity as white blood cell counts falter. Disrupted sleep, as melatonin rhythms stutter. Even cardiovascular strain, with elevated heart rates mimicking a mini-stress response. Yet flip the script. Retention reverses the tide. In a 2003 study from China Medical University, men practicing abstinence for 7 days saw testosterone peak at 145% of baseline. A hormonal high-tide flooding muscles with growth factors, sharpening neural edges with focus. Dopamine, untethered from the boom and bust of climax, stabilizes into steady-state motivation. The engine of the prefrontal cortex humming like a well-tuned V8. Neuroplasticity awakens. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, rises, forging new synaptic highways as evidenced in psychoneuroendocrinology. Energy. Oh, the vitality surge. Mitochondria. Those cellular powerhouses thrive on conserved resources. ATP production ramps, oxygenation deepens, turning lethargy into lion-like prowl. Hormone balance, that delicate orchestra, finds its conductor. Cortisol, the stress demon gnawing at your adrenals in boardroom battles and bedtime scrolls, ebbs under retention's reign. A 2016 review in Sexual Medicine Reviews links frequent ejaculation to adrenal fatigue in high-stress cohorts. Ejaculation as escape. Yes, but one that borrows from tomorrow's reserves. Retain, and the HPA axis harmonizes. CRH and ACTH modulate, allowing thyroid hormones to shine, metabolism to blaze. Thyroid, the unsung hero. Retention spares iodine and selenium, key to T3 and T4 synthesis, banishing the cold hands and foggy brain of subclinical hypo. And estrogen. In men, excess from environmental xenoestrogens, plastics, pesticides, breeds the paunch and the passivity. But semen, laden with aromatase inhibitors when retained, tips the scales back to masculine fire. Feel it in the flesh. The biological benefits cascade into the tangible. Skin glows as collagen synthesis accelerates under stabilized androgens. Hair thickens, follicles fortified by DHT's directed flow, not scattered in waste, but channeled to crown and mane. Eyes clear as visual acuity sharpens with enhanced rod and cone sensitivity per optometric studies on abstinence. Even the gut, that second brain, aligns. Serotonin precursors conserved, microbiome blooms with anti-inflammatory short-chain fatty acids. Immunity, a fortress. Immunoglobulins IgA and IgG climb, as noted in urology trials, turning you from sniffling sentinel to unbreakable guard. But biology is the map, the terrain is energy. Here, modern science meets the ancients in a grand convergence. Enter the field of bioenergetics, the study of prana, ki, chi, that subtle electricity coursing through meridians and nadis. EEG scans from UCLA's mindfulness labs reveal it. Retention practitioners exhibit alpha and theta waves akin to deep meditation, coherence between hemispheres bridging the logical left and intuitive right. fMRI lights up the default mode network, quieting the monkey mind's chatter, amplifying the salience network's laser focus. It's as if the body, unburdened by the post-ejaculatory slump, reallocates kilowatts from groin to gray matter. Take the case of Marcus, a software engineer from Seattle, his life a pixelated blur of code and caffeine. At 32, he was a ghost in his own skin. Erectile whispers from overuse, afternoons lost to the fog, relationships crumbling under the weight of his disconnection. Porn's grip was vice-tight, 90 minutes nightly, a ritual of escape from the startup grind. Then, a stumble upon Mantak Chia's Taoist Secrets of Love. Skeptical, he tried 7 days. Day 3. Irritability, the dragon thrashing in its cage. Day 5. A subtle hum like an engine warming. By day 7, the peak, testosterone's roar, but more, a clarity that debugged his code in half the time, ideas flowing like uncorked champagne. Energy? He ran his first 5K without gasping. But the real alchemy, in the mirror, a man reborn, eyes alight with purpose. Marcus's story is yours, waiting to unfold. The body, that wise oracle, speaks in surges and stillnesses. Listen. Yet we must confront the shadows, for no path of power dodges the abyss. The modern world is a gauntlet of temptations, engineered to erode your essence. Porn addiction, that dopamine casino, where novelty is the house edge, leaving you bankrupt in spirit. Algorithms feed the beast, endless variety, zero intimacy, rewiring the nucleus accumbens until real touch feels flat, real connection a chore. Studies from Cambridge's Behavioral and Clinical Neuroscience Institute paint the horror. Porn's hyperstimulation rivals cocaine, shrinking the reward system's sensitivity, birthing anhedonia, the inability to feel joy without the screen's glow. Emptiness follows, post-nut clarity inverted into post-nut despair, a void where self-worth should stand. Stress, that urban plague, compounds the crime. Cortisol's chronic drip, deadlines, doom scrolls. The existential hum of climate dread and economic precarity spikes prolactin, mimicking ejaculation's break. We self-medicate with release, a vicious loop. Stress begets spill, spill begets more stress. Disconnection? The epidemic of our era. Touch-starved in a touchless age, we crave the quick fix, mistaking pixels for presence. Loneliness epidemics rage. Per Harvard's Grant study, the longest on human happiness, revealing isolation as the silent killer, eroding telomeres faster than tobacco. In this fog, semen retention emerges not as ascetic denial, but as radical reclamation, a refusal to let the world dictate your discharge. Pause here in the hush between heartbeats. Feel the weight of it. You're not broken. You are a vessel, cracked perhaps, but mendable. The ancients knew. Transformation begins in the root, the Muladhara, that red earth chakra where survival meets sensuality. Suppression. A fool's errand, bottling the storm until it shatters the glass. Retention is the sage's art. Awareness, not aversion. Witness the urge as a wave, rising, cresting, receding, not to be fought, but surfed. Inhale the salt spray of arousal. Exhale the tension into earth. This is Urdhva Retas, the upward flow of Vedic lore. Semen turn to Ojas, Jing to Shen, Bindu to bliss. Let us weave deeper into the biological tapestry, for science is our lantern in this night. Delve into the prostate, that walnut sentinel, guardian of the gland's golden gate. Retention massages it internally. Not through friction's frenzy, but through Mula Bandha, the root lock, contracting the pelvic floor to circulate essence without expulsion. Ultrasound studies from Prostate International show it. Regular Kegels and retention reduce benign hyperplasia, risk by 40%, preserving urinary flow and nocturnal peace. And the heart? Ah, the sacred pump. Ejaculation's sympathetic spike, heart rate to 150 BPM, chronicled in Journal of Sexual Medicine, strains the ticker over time. Retain and parasympathetic dominance reigns. Vagus nerve-toned, HRV, heart rate variability, soars, a metric of resilience per frontiers in psychology. You become anti-fragile, thriving on chaos where others crumble. Hormones again in symphonic detail. Luteinizing hormone, LH. That pituitary prod pulses stronger in abstinent men as per endocrine panels from Zhejiang University, driving Leydig cells to forge more testosterone, that alpha elixir. SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. Balances, freeing T from its molecular shackles, flooding receptors in muscle and mind. Estrogen? Aromatase, the enzyme converting T to E, downregulates with conserved zinc. Zinc, that anti-aromatase ally, hoarded in the seed. Result, leaner frame, sharper jaw, the masculine silhouette reclaiming its throne. Now the brain, a galaxy unveiled. Neuroimaging from archives of sexual behavior illuminates the ventral striatum, porn's playground, quiets in retention, allowing the orbitofrontal cortex to reclaim executive command. Willpower rebuilds. The anterior cingulate, that conflict monitor, thickens with practice, turning I count to I choose. Creativity? The temporal lobes, bastions of ideation, light up as divergent thinking decouples from reward cycles. Van Gogh's Starry Nights, Tesla's alternating current, born not in bedsheets tangled, but in minds unspent. Energy's quantum leap. Consider ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the currency of cellular fire. Semen's fructose fuels the flagella, but retained it recirculates via lymphatic highways per Ayurvedic Schroeter's theory, validated by lymphoscintigraphy scans. Mitochondria multiply, uncoupling proteins activate, brown fat ignites, torching calories in thermogenic triumph. You feel it, the post-dawn vigor, stairs taken two at a time, ideas igniting like synapses in storm. Relatable? Enter Lena, a graphic designer in Brooklyn, 28 and adrift. Her days blurred in freelance frenzy, nights in wine and wanderlust apps, swipes leading to hookups that left her hollower than before. "It's like chasing smoke," she confessed. Ojas depleted, her art stalled, skin sallow, spirit adrift. A yoga retreat cracked the code, tantric circles, breath as bridle. 30 days in, retention her quiet vow. The shift, biological poetry. Periods regularized, PMS banished, energy for dawn flows, designs pouring like monsoon. "I feel full," she said, "like I'm holding my own light." Challenges persist, the itch, the idle hour, the partner's plea. But herein lies the meditative might, retention as devotion, not drudgery. Envision the seed as Shiva's lingam, pillar of creation. Retained, it pierces avidya's veil. Taoist microcosmic orbit, visualize the circuit, root to crown to root, energy looping like Ouroboros, devouring tail to birth head anew. Modern stressors. Weaponize retention against them. Pawns pull, replace with presence. Cold showers as ablution, journaling the void's voice. Stress, ujjayi breath, ocean's roar in throat, cortisol crushed. Emptiness, connection forged in circles, men's groups, not bars. Vulnerability, not veneer. Stories abound. Jordan, Wall Street wolf turned wolf in sheep's clothing, retention his redemption arc. From coke-fueled crashes to cold turkey clarity, building an empire not on excess, but essence. As part one crests, feel the spark fan to flame. We've traversed the wasteland, glimpsed the wellspring. Biology bends to your will, hormones in harmony, energy unbound, body a temple rebuilt stone by sacred stone. The ancients nod approval, science stands sentinel. But this is mere prelude. The psychological forge awaits, where mind meets mastery. The journey deepens. Brother, sister, seeker. Hold the spark, let it burn. The mind's forge, clarity from chaos, will from whisper. In the forge of the mind, where thoughts clash like swords on anvil, retention becomes the bellows, fanning embers of distraction into the fierce blaze of clarity. We left Elias on the cusp, the spark ignited in his body's hidden wells. Now, watch as that fire climbs the spine, not as a fleeting flare, but a sustained dawn, illuminating the chambers of the psyche long shrouded in fog. For what good is a lion's strength if the rider's reins are slack? The psychological odyssey of semen retention is the taming of the inner wilds. From the scattershot spray of a mind adrift in dopamine deluge to the arrow-straight focus of an archer at full draw. Clarity, that rare jewel in our overstimulated age. Willpower, the muscle memory of sovereignty. Confidence, the quiet thunder of self-possession. These are not gifts bestowed by gods or gurus, but forged in the quiet laboratory of restraint, where every denied impulse is a hammer blow shaping the self anew. Envision the psyche as a vast ocean whipped by tempests of modern life. Waves of worry crash from the 24/7 news cycle. Undercurrents of inadequacy pull from social scrolls where everyone else's highlight reel mocks your behind the scenes. Porn, that great illusionist, conjures tsunamis of synthetic ecstasy, leaving the shore eroded, the depths muddied. In this churn, clarity is the lighthouse, steady beam-cutting fog, guiding ships to harbor. Semen retention, in its essence, is the calming of these waters. Not by damming the flow, but by redirecting it. The vital jing, spared from spill, rises like mist to the higher mind, condensing into droplets of discernment. Turn to the ancients once more, for their maps of the mind prefigure our PET scans and psychometrics. In Taoism, the ascent of Jing births Qi, the vital breath, which in turn refines to Shen, the luminous spirit, guardian of insight and intent. The Tao Te Ching hints at it. He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. Retention is the mirror polishing, clearing the silt of sensory excess so the true reflection shines. Ayurveda's sattva, the purity of mind, mirrors this. Ojas as the sap that feeds the manas, the sensory organ of thought. Spill the nectar, and tamas reigns, dull inertia, the sloth of the soul. Conserve it, and rajas tempers to balanced action, thoughts like arrows loosed from a steady bow. Tantra delves deeper, viewing the mind as a lotus pond. Arousal's lotuses bloom in the mud of Muladhara, but without retention, petals scatter on the wind. Through pranayama and bandhas, the practitioner draws the nectar upward via anahata, the heart's compassion, to ajna, the third eye, where duality dissolves and clarity dawns as non-dual knowing. The Vigyan Bhairav Tantra offers 112 meditations, many rooted in transmuting sexual fire. Gaze at the space between breaths, hold the edge of sensation, and watch the mind unfold like a scroll of infinite script. Science, ever the empiricist, charts this ascent with cold precision, yet warms to the wonder. Dive into the neurochemistry. Ejaculation's aftermath is a cocktail of contradiction. Oxytocin bonds fleetingly, but prolactin's pall descends, a sedative veiling the ventral tegmental area, birthplace of motivation. Dopamine crashes, leaving the nucleus accumbens starved, a beggar at the feast it once hosted. Chronic. The brain adapts downward. Receptors desensitize, as per fMRI data from Max Planck Institute, birthing the flat line, that zombie scroll through life where even coffee tastes like ash. Retention interrupts the cycle, a reset button on the reward machinery. A 2018 study in Journal of Behavioral Addictions tracked abstinent men. Within 14 days, dopamine receptor density rebounded 20%, sensitivity sharpening like a blade on wet stone. The result? Clarity's cascade. Prefrontal cortex activation surges. Executive functions thrown, per EEGs from University of Zurich, filtering noise from signal. Multitasking myths shatter. Deep work emerges, that flow state Csikszentmihalyi hymned, where hours dissolve in creation's grip. Elias, in his rain-lashed lair, feels it first as a hush. The tab avalanche halts, one email answered, then two. The novel's protagonist stirs, words flowing not in trickles, but torrents, characters breathing, plots twisting with newfound veracity. But clarity is no solitary peak. It births willpower, that forge fire of the frontal lobes. Willpower, long maligned as finite ego depletion per Baumeister's marshmallow wars, reveals its true face under retention. Not a depletable tank, but a renewable dynamo. Modern challenges mock it. The pull of the ping, the procrastination vortex, the evening slump into Netflix numbness. In a world of frictionless friction, one-click buys, swipe-right seductions, willpower atrophies like an unused limb. Yet retention is the gym for the ghost in the machine, each resisted urge a rep, building the anterior cingulate cortex's girth, that neural gym where conflict resolves into choice. Biological bridge. Conserved semen spares zinc and magnesium, cofactors for GABA and glutamate balance. Excitatory and inhibitory neurotransmitters in harmonious duel. Zinc deficiency, rampant in ejaculators per Nutrients Journal, fogs the hippocampus, memory's vault, eroding resolve. Retain and synaptic pruning accelerates, weeding weak impulses, strengthening circuits of delay discounting, valuing future gold over present glitter. A 2021 meta-analysis in psychological science links abstinence to enhanced self-control scores, mirroring Stoic disciplines, Epictetus's dichotomy of control, now neuro-backed. Witness Sophia, a marketing exec in Tokyo, 35, her life a hamster wheel of high-stakes pitches and higher heels. Burnout's bite was relentless. Decisions dithered, deadlines dodged. A lover's touch met with mechanical response. Porn's shadow loomed, guilt-laced late nights, clarity stolen by morning's haze. A whispered tip from a wellness podcaster led to 21 days. The forge ignited. Day 7, irritability's iron, urges like wild horses bucking. Day 14, the tempering, willpower as warm steel. She rose at 5 a.m., scripted her pitch in flawless flow, nailed the boardroom like a samurai's stroke. Confidence bloomed, not brash, but rooted. Promotions followed, relationships deepened in authentic gaze. "It's like I woke up," she shared in a quiet cafe, steam rising from matcha like her rising key. The noise. Gone. Just me and the mountain I am. Confidence, that third pillar, rises from these depths. Not the peacock strut of fragile ego, but the oak's quiet certainty, branches wide, roots deep. Psychologically, it's the arc from imposter to incarnate. The voice that once quavered in meetings now commands. The mirror once avoided, now met with nod of alliance. Retention fuels it via serotonin stabilization. Tryptophan conserved in seminal stores, precursor to the mood architect. Low serotonin. The spiral of self-doubt, as in seasonal affective disorders gloom. But a 2015 Serotonin Club symposium noted abstinence's uplift, 5-HT receptors upregulate, fostering that inner sun glow. Modern disconnection amplifies the ache. In an era of filtered facades, comparison's thief steals self-trust. Social media's dopamine drip, likes as laudanum, erodes authentic esteem per Twenge's iGen revelations. Retention counters. Oxytocin, often misspent in mechanical release, recirculates as self-compassion, bonding the fragments of fractured self. Studies from Emotion Journal show retained practitioners score higher on Rosenberg scales. Self-esteem's metric, mirroring tantric svadhyaya, self-study through sensations still point. Yet the forge tests. Flatlines valley, where libido dips, confidence wavers like candle in gale. Here, the meditative tone anchors. Breathe into the void, Vipassana style, witnessing the ego's tantrum without judgment. Taoist Wu Wei, effortless effort, guides. Act not against the urge, but with it, channeling to creative outlets. Write the fury into verse, run the restlessness into miles, sculpt the surge into clay. Stories multiply. Raj, a Mumbai artist, 29, his canvases blank under creative block's weight. Emptiness echoed porn's hollow echo. Nights lost, days listless. Retention's vow. 90 days. The flat line, a cocoon. Emergence. A series of murals, bold strokes of crimson vitality exhibited to acclaim. Confidence isn't loud, he said, paint-flecked hands gesturing. It's the hand that holds the brush steady, knowing the color will come. Deeper into the psyche's architecture. Consider the limbic system, emotion's ancient engine. Amygdala, fear's alarm, quiets under retention's reign. Cortisol curbed, as per stress journals cortisol curves post-abstinence. Hypervigilance fades. Decisions flow from equanimity, not edge. Hippocampus hypertrophies, neurogenesis sparked by BDNF's bloom, conserved resources feeding new neurons per hippocampus, hippocampal volume scans. Memory sharpens. Names recalled, lessons retained, the past no longer a bog, but a blueprint. Willpowers weave with habit. Dopamine's steady hum, untied from climax's crash, reinforces keystone loops. Gym over grog, book over binge. Charles Duhigg's power of habit finds echo in retention forms. Streaks as sacred, cue-craving response-reward rewired. Clarity cascades to metacognition, thinking about thinking, per consciousness and cognition, awareness amplified, rumination reduced. The monkey mind, that tantric chitta vritti, stills. Pratyahara, sensory withdrawal, becomes second nature. Modern stressors strike here hardest. The quarter-life crisis, that millennial malaise of what now, in gig economies of ghost jobs and ghosted hearts. Stresses shadow self-sabotages, procrastination as armor against failure's sting. Retention disarms, endorphins endogenous, a buffer against burnout. A 2022 Journal of Positive Psychology. Cohort of retainers reported 35% drop in perceived stress, VIA surveys soaring, gratitude, zest, the fruits of a fortified mind. Envision the bandhas as psychological locks. Jalandhara at throat, words chosen with care, confidence in utterance. Uddiyana at solar, will ignited in core's fire. Mula at root, urges alchemized to ascent. Breathwork bridges, Kapalabhati, skull's shining breath, expels psychic toxins, clarity crystallizing like dew at dawn. Elias evolves, the apartment's gloom lifts, rain now a rhythm, not dirge. He closes tabs, opens notebook, pages fill with visions of escape, a life beyond the grind. Clarity reveals the cage's bars self-woven, willpower bends them. Confidence, he calls the editor, voice steady as ancient oak. I've got a story, he says. And in that moment, the labyrinth unwinds, a path emerging, lit by inner flame. Challenges whisper temptations. The X's text at midnight, the bar's banal buzz, the brain's betrayal in idle hours. Counter with allies, accountability circles, apps tracking streaks sans shame, meditations mapping the mind's minefield. Psychological resilience builds layered, cognitive reframing, urge as teacher, not tyrant. Per-act therapy's diffusion. Stories sustain. Maya, a London therapist, 42, her couch confessions mirroring her chaos. Client empathy drained by personal porn, purge cycles. Retention's quiet revolution. Sessions deepened, insights flowed, her own therapy sessions shortened to celebration. Willpower isn't grit, she counseled a client, echoing her truth. It's grace, earned in the holding. As the mind's forge glows hotter, we glimpse the spiritual horizon, where psychology's peaks meet the eternal snows of awakening. Clarity as third eyes squint, willpower as Shiva's trident, confidence as Shakti's dance. The journey ascends, seeker. Fan the flames. The summit calls, the eternal flame. Awakening the divine within. From the forge of the mind, we ascend the sacred slopes, where psychology's fires temper into spiritual gold. Here, in the rarefied air of awakening, semen retention reveals its deepest mystery. Not mere conservation, but consecration, the transmutation of mortal urge into divine union. We have walked the body's labyrinth, tamed the mind's tempests. Now the spirit stirs, that slumbering giant within, rousing to claim its throne. Kundalini's serpent uncoils. The third eye blinks open and the divine human potential unfurls like wings long furled. This is no abstract theology, no lofty sermon for cloistered saints. In our wired world of existential drift, where algorithms dictate desire and souls starve amid abundance, retention becomes the hidden key, unlocking the Godhead in the gutter, the cosmos in the cell. Feel it, seeker. The flame eternal, flickering at your root, ready to consume illusions and birth the infinite you. Envision the spine as the world tree, Yggdrasil of the east, its roots in the earth's red clay, branches piercing the vault of heaven. At the base, coiled thrice, slumbers Shakti's fire. Kundalini, the primal power, she who is the universe's throb, the Big Bang's echo in your bones. In tantric lore, she sleeps in every being, a goddess in chains, awaiting the lover's call, ejaculation. A rude awakening, spilling her nectar downward into the void, binding her anew in samsara's wheel. Retention. The devotee's caress, holding the edge of ecstasy, drawing her upward through the Sushumna's silver flute, piercing each chakra gate with purifying flame. From Muladhara's survival soil to Svadhisthana's sensual sea, Manipura's solar forge, Anahata's heart harp, Vishuddha's throat thunder, to Ajna's command center, each ascent a death and rebirth, veils of ego rent asunder. The ancients sang of it in shadowed yantras, their bodies living altars. In the Kaulavali Nirnaya, Tantra's root text, retention, is sahaja, the natural state, where Maithuna without loss becomes samadhi's gate. The practitioner, breath as bridle, visualizes the bindu rising, semen as moondrop, drawn to the fontanelle's sahasrara, mingling with Shiva's nectar in cosmic kiss. Kundalini rises not in frenzy, but in fierce fidelity, the lovers vow to hold, to honor, to elevate the flood. Symptoms. The kriyas, spontaneous shakes, tears of release, visions blooming like desert flowers after rain. Bliss follows, ananda, a current that dissolves the doer, leaving only the dance. Ayurveda's echo, ojas, conserved, ascends to tejas, inner radiance, then prana, the breath of Brahman. The Sushruta Samhita warns of Shukra's squander as spiritual suicide, a dimming of the Atman's lamp. Retain, and the subtle body ignites. Pranamaya kosha enlivened, the etheric form a vessel for higher octaves. Taoism crowns the triad, Jing to Qi to Shen, and beyond to Tao, the wayless way, immortality's empty fullness. Mantak Chia's orbits close the circuit, energy looping root to crown to root, until the microcosm mirrors the macro, man as mountain, seed as star. Modern science, peering through the veil, glimpses the glow. Biofields shimmer under Kirlian photography. Retained auras expand, per studies from Moscow's bioelectrography labs, electromagnetic sheaths thickening like a king's cloak. Kundalini's rise? EEGs capture it. Gamma waves spiking 40 Hz, coherence across lobes, akin to advanced meditators in nature neuroscience. The third eye, Ajna, corresponds to the pineal gland, that calcite-crystalled antenna. DMT precursors like pinoline surge in abstinence, per Rick Strassman's endogenous visions research, birthing spontaneous insights, the downloads of mystics now mapped in fMRI fractals. Heart coherence follows, HRV sinking to 0.1 Hz, the Earth's Schumann resonance, linking personal pulse to planetary hum, as in HeartMath Institute's global field data. Divine potential. The capstone, realizing the self as Atman Brahman, spark and source one. Retention strips the sheaths. Annamaya flesh, pranamaya breath, manomaya mind, vijnanamaya wisdom, revealing Anandamaya, the bliss body. In our era of disconnection, spiritual hunger masked as consumerism, souls scrolling for salvation, this awakening is revolution. Porn's pixel gods, false idols draining the font, stress's shroud, a call to pierce, not pander. Emptiness, the womb of the infinite, aching for retention's seed. Meet Aria, a Vancouver filmmaker, 31, her reels roar with urban alienation, shots of rain-slick streets, faces lit by screens, eyes hollow as deleted files. Burnout broke her. A breakdown mid-shoot, visions of serpents in the editing bay, a cry for something more. Tantra found her via a whispered workshop. Retention, her reluctant rosary. 30 days. The coils stirred. Heat waves up the spine, dreams of golden rivers. 60. The rise, a torrent, Ajna ablaze, ideas cascading, her film morphing from despair to dawn, protagonists finding fire in the fray. It's like remembering, she breathed post-premiere, audience tears mirroring her own. Who I was before the world whispered, not enough. Spiritual dimensions. Her lens now captures the unseen, auras in actors' glances, synchronicities in street serendipity. Divine potential, from documentarian to diviner, her art a bridge to the beyond. Yet the ascent demands tools, practical sacraments to midwife the mystery. We arm you now, pilgrim, with the arsenal of the ages, honed for the now. Breathwork to bellows the blaze, detox to clear the channels, meditation to map the mysteries, transmutation to turn lead to light. These are not rituals for the remote ashram, but elixirs for the elevator ride, the commute's crawl, the midnight scroll's siren. Begin with breath, that primal prana, the thread-stringing body to beyond. Ujjayi pranayama, victorious breath, throat constricted to ocean's roar. Sit tall, spine as staff, inhale through nose, fill belly, ribs, chest, like drawing kundalini smoke upward. Exhale with soft ha at throat, fogging an imagined mirror. 10 rounds dawn and dusk. It stokes the inner forge, oxygenating cells, alkalizing blood, per journal of alternative medicine's pH shifts. For the rising, breath of fire, kapalabhati, rapid belly pumps, 30-60 per minute, skull-shining expulsion of tamas dross. Caution, ease in, lest the serpent buck wild. Modern twist, pair with app timers, turning traffic jams to tantric trysts. Detox, the great purge. Retention thrives in a vessel pure. Semen spill leaches minerals, retention hoards them, zinc for Shen, selenium for ojas. But toxins abound. Endocrine disruptors in plastics, heavy metals in farmed fish, cortisol's concrete in chronic churn. Cleanse thus, panchakarma light for the layman. Start with langhana. Lightning, fast intermittent, 16:8 windows, dawn broths of ginger turmeric to kindle, Agni. Hydrate as hymn, half your weight in ounces, infused with lemon lime, citric spark for liver's loom. Sweat sacred. Saunas thrice weekly, infrared if accessible, flushing PCBs as Journal of Environmental and Public Health affirms. Greens as guardians, chlorophyll's chlorophyll, spirulina's spiral, detox the srotas, subtle channels, with daily smoothies. Avoid the vampires, porn's poison pixels, processed palliatives. A 2020 toxins review links xenoestrogens to lowered T, purge plastics, opt glass, simple sorcery. Meditation, the mage's mirror, gazing kundalini's gaze. Trataka, candle flame fix, 5 to 10 minutes, third eye tuned. Builds dharana, concentration's laser, dissolving ajna's cataract. For transmutation, brahmacharya dhyana, visualize the root's red wheel spinning clockwise, urge as fuel drawn up the silver cord, blooming violet at crown. Affirm, I am the alchemist, my essence, eternal. Tantric nyasa, touch body points, root, sacrum, navel, chanting lam, vam, ram, seeding mantras like stars, apsade. Insight timers guided ascents, but solitude seals it. Dawn's hush, moon's musing. Science nods. A 2019 Frontiers in Psychology trial. 20 minutes daily boosts telomerase. Longevity's enzyme. Kundalini's quiet ally. Energy transmutation. The crown jewel urges artful dodge. When arousal knocks, that modern phantom, triggered by thigh gap ads or memory's murmur, meet it as mentor. Mula Bandha, root lock, pelvic floor lift as if halting midstream, hold 5 to 10 breaths. Circulate. Taoist testicle breathing, inhale cool, yin up spine, exhale warm yang down front, orbiting the orbit. Tantric edge walk, arousal to 80%, then Sahajoli Mudra, internal scoop, drawing essence inward without spill. Creative spill, channel to canvas, code, call, Freud's sublimation, Tantra's truth. Journal the juice. What wisdom hides in this want? Stories fuel. Theo, Berlin DJ 27, beats born of bedtime battles. Retentions packed. Nights of near miss, mornings of mastery. Sets that shook clubs, crowds chanting his name like mantra. The urge? It's rocket fuel. He grinned, decks humming. Hold it, and you launch. Weave them daily. Morning Ujjayi and Mula, noon green elixir, eve Trataka trance, night transmutation vow. Challenges? The plateau's plateau, libido's lull, a test of faith. Here, devotion deepens, retention as bhakti, love's labor lost to gain the all. Pawn's relapse? A guru's slap? Rise, recommit, compassion's cloak. Partner's puzzle? Sacred share, mutual retention, tantric touch without tip. Yab-yum embrace, energies entwined as lovers knot. Spiritual dimensions deepen in communion. Circles of seekers, not solitary saints. Men's kirtan, women's satsang, voices rising, vulnerabilities voiced. Kundalini kindled collective. Modern emptiness? Filled not by fill, but flow. Retention as river to the real, where disconnection dissolves in divine download. Third eye opens, synchronicities swarm, books beckon with buried truth, dreams dictate destiny. Divine potential, you, the fractal god. Creator in cubicle, mystic in metro, awakening the world one withheld wave at a time. As the sun crests, Elias opens eyes. Not to mountain's majesty alone, but mirrored within. The serpent crests his crown, a halo of heat. Visions cascade, ancestors applauding, futures unfolding in filigree fate. He descends, not diminished, but doubled. City no cage, but canvas. The flame eternal burns bright, a beacon for the brotherhood of the hold. And now, the call, the thunderous hush that seals the sacred. Hear it, kin of the coil, in this distracted deluge where souls surf screens for solace. Semen retention is your sovereign stand, not suppression's shackle, but mastery's mantle. The path of the sacred warrior, reclaiming the root to rule the realms. You are the alchemist, the ascetic with app, the tantric titan in tailored suit. Hold the spark, transmute the storm, awaken the all. For every drop retained is a destiny drafted, a divine decree whispered in your wanting. Rise, retain, reveal, the God in you hungers no more. The world awaits your fire. Ignite,